Hey guys, this is Antari, and if you look closely, you'll see that finally I achieved 100 subscribers on YouTube. Yay! So I'm happy as hell about that, and I want to thank all of you guys for your support, and also a few people who helped me to achieve that, which is mainly HeyDude6969, Chris the Master 717, and Ship Graveyard from the Underground League. And when we are on the Underground League, there is a pretty cool place just to talk a bit on the chat box and to have a nice battle. So I put the link into the description bar below to this place, because it's a pretty cool place just to have a battle chat. And yeah, so anyway, you may ask about my 100 sub special, and I'll try something new about that, maybe an Aber battle, maybe something completely different, so stay tuned. I'll be posting something in the near future. So yeah, but let's get into today's battle. My opponent is someone from the Underground League, which is Chris the Master 717. He's also on YouTube, so I put the link in the description bar below to his channel. And yeah, so let's get started with this battle, shall we? So my strategy here is simple, because I bring in my Doctor as Elite. Doctor got Arena Trap, right? So my opponent Poke can't switch, because he needs to lock himself into one move because it's scarfed. So my Poke is safe because it's carrying Focus Sash, and I'm able to set up my rocks. And I have no idea if that works in that way. If someone knows, please leave a comment about that, I'll be grateful. And if it works, this will be pretty good trap for Choice Scarf leads, I guess. So I take a switch to my Arcanine just to get this thing intimidated as he switch into his Slowbro. So I go for a Toxic just to put to the poison. And that's pretty good beginning of the game for me. So, yeah. Anyway, I take a switch into my Claydol as he goes for a Toxic, because I was predicting that he will go for some status move, I guess, because it's pretty safe switch, and I don't want my Arcanine to be poisoned. I just Claydol is more safe, I guess. So anyway, after that I go for my Claydol with a trick, just to trap his Umbreon with using Choice Scarf, which is pretty awesome, because now his Umbreon is pretty useless for him. And at this point I don't know if this Umbreon is carrying Heal Bell. So I go for my Arcanine just to get this thing intimidated as he goes for a Heal Bell. So I was predicting that he will take a switch, so I take a switch to my Dactrio as he switch into his Swallow. So now he'll activate its Toxic Orb, and he decided to kill my Dactrio with U-turn. So I got this turn advantage of seeing his Poke, and I can easily bring in a counter just to kill this Slowbro. So I decided to bring in my Espeon, and this is my new Espeon with Trick Thing. So I decided to go for Grass Knot because it's super effective and it's a pretty safe move. I don't want to overpredict too much. So he decided to bring in his Umbreon again as I take a switch into my Feraligatr. He decided to lock himself into Payback, which is good because this gives me the opportunity to set up a bit with Swords Dance. And here he ends up getting a crit, which is pretty bad, because if he didn't get this crit, I can easily go for the second Swords Dance, and yeah. But anyway, I finish him off with Earthquake, and I can still do some damage to next Poke. So he decided to bring in his Slowbro. Here I was predicting a Slack Off, so I go for a second Swords Dance, but he decided to go for a Surf straight on and kill my Feraligatr. So yeah, his Slowbro is looking pretty good, I guess. So I decide to bring in my Espeon, and again, I don't want to overpredict too much, so I go for Grass Knot to kill it, but he decided to take a switch into his Swallow, which isn't that bad because he will suffer because of the Stealth Rocks, Toxic and Grass Knot. So I decide to bring in Arcanine just to get this thing intimidated as he goes for a Facade, which is probably his most powerful move, which isn't going to do even half of my HP damage, which is pretty good, I guess. So anyway, he goes for a Brave Bird, and this isn't going to kill my Arcanine, and I decided to predict that he will die because of this Recall, Poison and things like that. So I go for a Morning Sun to get some HP back, and yeah, my Arcanine is looking pretty good right now. So he decided to bring in his Slowbro, I Wall You, and I decided to go for my Gastrodon because it's a pretty good counter to this Slowbro. It got Toxic, and yeah. So he take those Surf for breakfast, and now I decide to go for a Toxic, which obviously misses, and I was like, what the fuck is going on with my luck? So yeah, his Toxic didn't miss, and he's able to put my Gastrodon to the poison, which isn't that great, because when Gastrodon is poisoned it will obviously die in a few turns. So he decided to bring in his Sceptile as I go for a Toxic because I don't want to overpredict again, and now his Sceptile is poisoned, which isn't that bad, but oh well. So I decided to overpredict that he will not use a grass type move because that he will predict my switch into something. So he goes for a focus blast, and I'm able to get some HP back with a recover, and now his Tiptal is locked into this focus blast, so I can easily take a switch into Claydol because Claydol resists those fighting type moves. So I take a switch into my Claydol. His focus blast misses, which actually didn't matter because my Claydol is still pretty bulky in terms of special defense. So he decided to take a switch into Slowbro as I go for the Psychic, which isn't going to do that much, but I end up getting a crit, and that crit actually didn't matter because my Claydol is still faster than this Slowbro, so I can easily take him down with Explosion. So next turn I decided to go for Explosion because I wasn't sure if my Claydol is faster, but apparently it is. So I take down his poke, and now the field is clear. So I decided to bring in as my poke Arcanine because I know that he will bring in his Tiptal. So yeah, he decided to lock himself into Dragon Pulse, which is I guess neutral versus my Arcanine, and I go for a Fire Blast because it's super effective, and this will obviously take down this poke. So yeah, my Arcanine is looking pretty good. I got more than 180 HP, and he decided to bring in his Primeape. So I decided to fodder my Gastrodon because I predicted he will lock himself into some sort of stab. So he goes for close combat. He ends up getting special defense, and defense drop. So yeah, now my Gastrodon is dead because it isn't going to take 2 close combats. And I decided to bring in my Arcanine as my next poke because they're a pretty good matchup for me. I get this thing intimidated, and I can easily take close combat for breakfast. So I go for a Fire Blast because after the free defense and special defense drops, I can easily one-hit KO it with that, and I was happy as hell that my Fire Blast didn't miss. So yeah. Anyway, his last poke is Aggron, and I decided to play safe because I know that I'm faster than this thing, so I go for a Will-O-Wisp just to cut the amount of damage dealt by the physical attacks of this poke. And he decided to go for a Rock Polish, but I didn't care because I don't care actually, because my Espeon is still faster. This is my Scarf Espeon, and I got Grass Knot, so I just go for this Fire Blast and kill it, and his attack missed, which is a pretty gay. So anyway, there was a great game. Chris Master 717, comment, rate, subscribe guys. Hope you like my battle, and yeah, stay tuned for more. Peace guys.